who's a Senior Regional Sales Manager here in Ontario at Glasslight Funding. Welcome, Edwina.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for being here with me. We're just going to be talking today about the market, what's going on, what she's seeing in terms of deals and brokers, and we're just gonna get into it a little bit.
Perfect.
So, Edwina, what are you seeing today in the market with both brokers and borrowers?
I think the biggest thing is affordability. So there's a lot of issues right now with affordability, with valuations coming in correctly, and then also with that kind of comes into the qualifying purposes as well. So I think one of the biggest things is chatting to your lender partners or to your clients about what they can actually afford right now versus what the market looked like 6 months ago. There's a big difference in that. And then structuring the deal correctly within that, right? It's not always about getting the most LTV out of a property, putting the clients in the highest payment possible that on paper they can afford, but what's actually working for them right now in the market that we're in, and what all their other expenses are in their life as well, outside of the mortgage, outside of the GDS, TDS, all that stuff. It's not just what's on paper that they can afford, but what they're actually able to live off of in their life.
Right, and what would you say is the most important factor right now when it comes to deal? Is it pricing? Is it flexibility? Is it service? Is it speed? Like which is like coming to the top is the most important?
I think if you're a broker, you're gonna say pricing, but I don't agree with that. So the biggest thing right now, I think, is putting your client in the proper solution for them. It's not about rate, it's not about necessarily the most amount of money, again, that you can get out, but really thinking about what the best solution is for the client right now, but also knowing what their goals are for the next year from now, 2 years from now, and what that looks like. We've seen a lot in the last 4 months of clients going into private mortgages 6 months ago, a year ago, where it was a quick fix band-aid solution, might have helped the situation at that time, but now when they're exiting out of that private mortgage, there's no solutions for them to be had. So it's not, again, about most amount of money out, but it's what is the exit strategy in the 6 months, year time when they're coming over to somebody like us to see if there's actually equity in the home. So I'll give you an example, like something we see quite often across the board on the sales team is deals coming in 85 LTV today. They were 75 6 months ago. The market kind of tanked a little bit with valuation. So those short-term solutions aren't necessarily always the best for the client. We're at Glasslight a really, really big proponent for having longer-term solutions, offering 2-3 year turnarounds, because ultimately clients aren't fixing their solution or getting themselves out of their current issues in 9 months on a 1 year term or in a 6 month open. They need a little bit more time between the market settling back in, on valuations, on their income kind of settling if something had happened to them. So I think when we're looking at creative solutions for clients and looking at what's best for the client is really thinking about the longer term to ensure that they actually have an exit strategy at the end.
Yeah, that's really important right now. And I've been hearing a lot about, lenders are kind of used to being shopped around in this market, but I'm hearing a lot lately that even brokers are being shopped by their clients because, they're really struggling to find a solution, so they're going to multiple brokers. So what would you say really separates a successful broker from an unsuccessful broker right now in this market?
Exactly what you said. We see the same deals. There's only so many players that can do certain types of deals. So we get the same deal across our desk 3, 4, 5 times from different brokers. The best broker who actually gets the end solution for the client is understanding what the client's actually looking for. Again, I'll be a big preacher of it on this segment of saying it's not just the best pricing, the lowest rate, and the most amount of money, but it's understanding what your client actually needs. Live example, we saw a very high-end property 4 different times, and it took the 5th broker to actually have that deal funded with us. And the ask on all of the different deals from the broker were completely different. When we actually figured out what the client actually needed, what the other properties that were involved were, and what the end goal was, we were able to provide a significant amount of financing for them. But it's not just about taking out the most amount of money at the lowest rate, but understanding what their goal is, and again, coming back to the exit piece of what's the plan in 2 years? Are they selling a property? Are they selling a business? Are they investing in a new business? So it's really the successful broker is somebody who understands the whole picture and isn't just pushing for the best rate.
Yeah.
This rate is not the answer.
No,
it's not the solution.
And that's really funny you say that because we just had a team meeting today, and something that came out of that was, as a lender, we have to understand the bigger picture that the broker is asking for as well. So it works on both sides.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, we're just trying to do right by the end client, and that's everyone's goal that's involved in this process. So thank you. That was great.
Perfect.
Let's cut to the Okay, and we recently launched a brand campaign called Funding Spaces That Shape Life, and really it's about, that every space that we fund here at Glass Lake really represents something more than just the space itself. It's, a family's home, a coffee shop, a business owner's dream, all of these things that represent something more. So can you tell me a little bit about what opportunities excite you most in terms of what we're funding right now?
Yeah, I'd say the first space that a business owner is able to get into is pretty exciting. For them. It reminds me of like a first-time home buyer kind of high when they get excited to get into the new space. Because we're working a lot with these business owners. They've put their blood, sweat, and tears, their family time, or given up their family time to make their businesses successful, put all their savings into it, and now their business is at a place where they're able to make the next step. So that's getting that new storefront. I live in the East End off the Danforth, and sometimes I'm walking down doing my usual little weekend activities, and you see spaces that you might have looked at a deal for, we funded a deal for. So it's nice to kind of be part of that community of, we are participating in, the lives of our clients that are actually in our portfolio, which is an exciting part. So I think for me, doing the first time commercial home buyer, or not home buyer, but space buyer, is exciting because it's a pretty pivotal moment in their business as well.
Right, and it's good to kind of step out of it. I think we all get stuck in the day-to-day transactional piece that comes with this business, but when you step back and kind of see the story, understand the story, know the client's background, and just really take yourself out of it to see the bigger picture, it kind of means something, right?
It's somebody's life, right? It's their livelihood, their family's livelihood.
And speaking of stepping out and standing out, what makes a deal stand out to you?
When the deal absolutely explodes because everything changes. No, I'm just kidding. Besides that one, I think the best deals, and what gets me really excited, is a broker that has come to me with a deal. We've vetted it together. We've kind of placed it together on how we're going to structure it. Comes in, runs really smoothly because we've put all the time and effort in the upfront. That is my biggest goal and my job in the company, is to help structure these deals and to make them a smooth transition when they're coming from sales to underwriting to funding. So I'm always a big proponent of, I always like to say in my presentations, of I'm happy to hold your hand to get the deal in. The underwriters will hold a hand to get that deal funded. But I think if everybody just does a little bit of kind of grunt work on the front, it makes for a much smoother operation on the back end of it as well.
Right. And speaking of that, in a world where AI is so big now and everyone's kind of pushing that and automation and all these things, but also a lot of companies are bringing back the human side of things as well. And we've always been aligned with that. We've always started with a human first approach. But what would you say is your role, and how important is the relationship piece from you with the brokers and then the broker with the client?
I think you can never take out the human touch of financing. I mean, Glass Lake isn't a data-driven pinpoint information, check the boxes that it works. So there is the relationship with the salesperson is huge. You have to have that in order to figure out, again, how to structure the deal, get that deal in. We work in a pod model, so you have myself or your other RSM on sales. It comes through the underwriter, and then there's a mortgage officer, and everybody works really in tandem to get the deal done. The goal at the end of the day is to get that deal funded as seamlessly as possible. Again, like we just mentioned, there's a client at the end of this, whether it's commercial or residential. It's a pretty big financial decision that they're making. So it's really great just to lean into your lender partners, whether that's the salesperson or the underwriter. That's going to help get that deal over the finish line for sure. Can't take away human touch.
No, you can't. You really can't, no matter how hard you try. Okay, and let's get a little bit more into the deal aspect of everything. So what are you seeing the most activity on right now? What kinds of deals?
I'd say in the last quarter, or for 2026, we've seen huge growth in our commercial portfolio. So we're seeing a lot of mixed use properties, multifamily, 5-plex or above. We see quite a bit of. There's also been a lot of BFS clients who are moving out of renting their spaces. So kind of think your hairdressers, your contractors, your convenience store owners, those types of things. They're getting opportunities to purchase the spaces that they're already in.
Awesome.
So it's kind of exciting that they're like a first-time home buyer, but on the commercial side. And those clients are doing really well because they're cash flowing currently in their business and have an established business. It's been, making money over the last, call it 2 to 5 years. And now they're coming into their own new space, or perhaps they're expanding into a second location as well.
Wow, that's awesome. I mean, that's a good news story.
Yeah.
And what types of borrowers are moving more confidently lately?
I would say the seasoned investors, so your clients who have large rental portfolios. We don't have a cap on rental properties, so if you have 2 or 3 properties or 19 properties, we're more than happy to take a look at it. There's not a lot of options for clients out there. They get maxed out at the usual lenders for the amount of doors or properties they have. So those kind of clients with seasoned investors, multiple properties, deals under holding or operating companies as well. That's something that we take a look at quite often, residential and commercial, which is great. And your BFS clients on the commercial side. There's a lot of those where we lend in your urban suburban lending areas, your major cities, but in secondary and tertiary markets as well. There's really strong clients who are BFS, great credit, great cash flow, but they don't have any options given the location or maybe the loan amount, if it's, call it $200K up to $1 million. So we see a lot of growth there in that little segment as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
And since the market's so drastically different today than it was when we even started, like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, what kinds of deals are you seeing now that we weren't seeing at all maybe 3 years ago even?
Yeah, I'd say the mixed use and multifamily is really popular with us. It's probably our most concentrated type of property we do on the commercial side. They're great properties because they have a lot of cash flow to them. The client is able to make a little bit of money. They're DSCRing on our side from it as well. So I'd say that's probably the most popular one there on commercial. And then residential, I've seen a big uptick in those holding and operating codes. There's just not a lot of options for those clients out there. Again, solid deals. Generally, they tend to be a more sophisticated client as well. I personally like them a little better because you're not fighting tooth and nail on rate and conditions. They're sophisticated business owners. They understand that there's a cost to doing business, and those ones tend to fly through the funding process quite quickly.
Interesting. Okay, that's really insightful. Thank you. Well, thank you so much, Edwina, for joining me. I hope that there was something that you took away from this episode. Opportunity still exists. I know the market is a little bit bumpy right now, but we're here to kind of smooth over the process as much as we can from our perspective. And at the end of the day, we're funding spaces that shape everyone's life, whether it's a business space, a home, a new business venture, whatever it may be. So yeah, thank you for coming to Korean Chatter, and we hope to see you next episode. Please share, do whatever you need to do.